Good day or good evening, whatever time it is at the time you're watching this video. Hi everyone, welcome in. This is going to be a little bit different style of a reading in this day or night. We're going to do the Celtic cross style tarot reading. But first, we're going to start with two of these oracle cards to get us started. These are the Feral Psychic oracle cards, if you are interested in these. We're getting started here with Twisted Narrative. Try to get it up here so you can see it better. You are clinging to a version of events that lets you stay angry, stay right, or stay stuck. And that story is your cage. And then we have Ancient Roots. Your soul chose this lineage for a reason. You carry not just their pain, but the power to transmute it. So right out the gate, this reading is feeling a little bit more like a shadow work style reading. And there is this like narrative that you are keeping yourself stuck in. There's something that happened in the past that is being clung to. There's past events, there's past things that have taken place, and you're sticking to your own narrative, your own version of these events, which is causing things like anger and a feeling of being kind of stuck. And that's the energy that I'm getting, obviously, from this card here, the Twisted Narrative. But not only that, there are things relating to ancestral pain as well here with this Ancient Roots that came out with that one. It's also a reminder that you hold the power within you to transmute all of this. And so it's a giant heads up here. And Spirit stepping in, your guide stepping in, and even your ancestors who walk behind you stepping in, saying and reminding you that you have the power to transmute all of this. So let's go ahead and get into the Iron Cross and see where we go from there. The first one here being the situation in general. We have the Ten of Cups in reverse. And that one is definitely reiterating the energy coming from this card here. The situation that you are currently in is one of unrest, is one of not being happy, is one of having conflict, even like domestically speaking. This could be speaking of conflicts between you and some family members or close friends. People around you that you associate with being family, whether they're of blood or of soul fam. There's a feeling of disharmony, and there's also a feeling of isolation as well. This can also be pertaining to a hostile work environment. Having to go to a place of work every day and dealing with things that are of negative stature and having to kind of endure it in order to create some sense of stability financially. You may be having family members or close friends that are meddling with this as well, kind of interjecting their opinions when they're unwanted opinions in this regard. Nonetheless, there is something here that is disturbing your peace at this time. It's disturbing your happiness. It's disturbing your serenity. Let's go ahead and see what the challenge is here. What crosses you at this time? What is the challenge to getting out of this feeling, out of this vibe? We've got the Hermit. That makes perfect sense. This is definitely the vibe that kind of kicked off this whole reading here, with these cards coming out in the forehand. Going within, doing the work that is required internally in order to flip the cups upright. That's putting it simply here. But really having the introspection and the self-reflection, and the fact that this oracle talks about the narrative, it's like a version of events, right? And being able to maybe gain a different perspective of these narratives here that you're struggling with. That's all the things that the Hermit does. And this is challenging for you at this time. This is something that is a bit of a struggle for you to overcome, for you to turn within, for you to work with the shadow, to work with the darker side of the things in order to truly explore as to why this unhappiness is being felt here. But this is something that is a necessary requirement in order to, quote unquote, find the light of day again. I think of the Hermit as the lonely wanderer, that's traveling the path of the night, that's traveling through the darkness. And the only thing that the Hermit has to guide one's way is this light that he's holding before him. There is this vibe of contemplation of your next steps as well, and kind of like weighing your options, so to speak. This could be pertaining to that job that I was talking about that came up. This could also be pertaining to these meddling family members or friends in your life right now. But contemplation of just what to do in order to reach a solution to the problems. These are all the things that are challenging you as of right now. Let's go ahead and see what the area of focus is. We have the Five of Cups in reverse. Focusing on moving on. Focusing on accepting the things that you cannot change. Focusing on achieving the contentment that you are seeking. Choosing to see the positive within the negatives that you are surrounded in. And in the recent past position, we have the Page of Pentacles. In the recent past, you were highly focused on where you wanted to go, where you wanted to end up, whether it be in the family dynamic, the friend dynamic, the lover dynamic, the work dynamic, just in life in general. There was a passion there, and you were very goal-oriented. You were making plans. You were learning new things. But there's this certain sense of like fear of failure that caused a little bit of a disruption. This is a card of having big dreams. You might have even recently in the past looked to move jobs as well, because the coin's all about material wealth, right? And the fact that the workplace seems to be coming up here, you may have tried to put an effort into relocating jobs, switching it up. Let's go ahead and uncover the possibilities and the near future here together. The Six of Coins in reverse, it speaks about the possibility of a financial loss. And so this might be a concern for you. This could be why it's coming up in the possibilities sector of this reading. And the fact that I kind of hit on the vibe of fear of failure here with the Page of Pentacles as well. there's like a fear of loss. And there's a fear of loss financially, but there's also a fear of loss of respect and a loss of reciprocation with the ones that are in your vicinity. I'm talking about like relationship wise. A feeling of like giving and giving and giving and not receiving in return is the vibe that I'm feeling here. And these are your feelings of what the possible negative outcomes would be here if you were to make a big move, transitionally speaking. And in the near future position, we have the Two of Cups. And this is a card of having open communication with loved ones, with your close inner circle, transparency with them, authenticity with them, expressing what you need to express in order to, bring your feelings out on the table in these regards. This could also be bringing that into the work as well, into your work life with your employer, with the employees that are around you as well, and keeping that communication very balanced and not allowing the emotional side of things to kind of like flare up in those regards, keeping things nice and balanced and being able to communicate clearly to get your point across without kind of like causing further chaos to occur, if that makes sense. The 7th card here ended up a little bit off camera, but this is your power card. And we have the 5 of Swords in reverse here. I'm just going to set it over here. There is power in reconciliation. That's what the 5 of Swords in reverse is all about. It's resolution, it's compromise. But it can also represent things like remorse, regret, but it can also represent cutting your losses. And so I believe the reason why this card ended up in the power position is what I had said in the ladder, the cutting your losses and not fearing what you may lose in the action of cutting those losses, because it's looking as though the things that you are fearing by doing this are what is holding you back to your fullest potential here, and allowing this like fear of taking action in this regard of what you may lose, instead of looking at it in a respect of what you might gain from all of this. It also reiterates that open dialogue as well that the Two of Cups speaks about. Having an open dialogue with those around you, whether it be in the home life, your social life, or at work. And in doing this, having this open dialogue, it can lead to resolutions. There's this feeling of like running up against a wall here. No matter how much effort is being put in, you feel as if you're not making any kind of progress. That's another thing that this card speaks about. But in those regards, this card is a reminder to have patience with yourself and to come to the realization that the energy here is quite scattered, and there's like a refocus that needs to happen. And once this focus can come in, the direction of where you need to go next will become clear to you. Even if you feel like you're inching your way along, even if the steps seem small to you, at least it's still a step in the direction that you're hoping to go into. Let's go ahead and take a look at your environment. See, this is what you are dealing with currently. We have the Seven of Wands. This is the card of combat. You feel as if you are combating every single thing right now. And this is what needs to be cut out. The fear of what might be lost in cutting out things that are presenting themselves as combative needs to be lesser than seeing the bigger picture of what can be gained if you do cut the losses here. And this very well could be pertaining to something financial as well. Perhaps you are dealing with things that are like of debt, you know, or something of that matter. Maybe you need to downsize for a little while and work on building the credit back up. Things like that. That can also bring in this energy of like conflict on a personal level. And so clearly you are dealing with quite a bit here. Let's look into the hopes. We have the Ace of Wands. I find this quite appropriate that it landed in the hopes sector of this reading, the Ace of Wands in reverse, because this is showing that you have hopes of achieving these goals. You have the ambitious mindset. You are dealing with quite a bit of obstacles at this time. And this is what is causing your frustration right now. What is the overall outcome of all of this? We have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Taking the time to connect with your inner voice. This is a time to slow down, because when we're going, 100 miles per minute, it's hard to see anything, right? And you can end up losing sight of all of these things that you had initially, set for yourself. And so this is a calling to have a moment of introspection, have a moment of slowing things down a little bit so that you can gain a bigger picture here, so that you can see the truth around these events here that this card initially was speaking about, so that you have the opportunity to gain different perspectives, so that you can bring things to light that are not necessarily able to be seen at this point. There's a big feeling of scattered energy that was portrayed all throughout these cards in this reading. And the only way to combat that scattered energy feeling is to slow down, is to go into the hermit mode and to have the introspection. And this isn't always necessarily the easiest thing to do. This isn't always necessarily something that someone wants to do. But it's the only way, is what I'm hearing Spirit say here. It's really the only way to be able to flip this 10 of Cups into an upright position. And ultimately, that is your goal. That is what you had set out to do. And it's something that is not unobtainable. You may also be dealing with things that is ancestral as well. These could be things that are attached to the ancestry, the karmic ancestry that runs, through your veins. This could also be pertaining to things that you're carrying over from past lives as well. But all of these things cannot be discovered unless one goes into this kind of mode, unless one commits to slowing down, taking their foot off the gas pedal, so to speak, and allowing yourself to gain different perspectives. Lastly, I went ahead and pulled an animal spirit totem for you to end this message out with. This heavy, shadowy shadow work message. Let's see what animal wanted to jump out here for you today. We have the beautiful koi fish spirit. There is always enough. And right out the gate, I'm hearing spirit say that source is always providing. And this fear of loss from cutting your losses needs to be reassessed, because once these cords are cut, once these debts are dealt with, once these introspections are looked upon, you're going to realize that Source has supplied every single need along the way and will continue to do so. The number 36 or 63 might be significant to you as well. And that adds up to a 9. 369. Those are the numbers of manifestation. And I'm going to go ahead and read from the book what this beautiful koi fish spirit speaks of here. It says, the koi fish, who grows big within a small pond, reminds us that within each of us is the potential for prosperity. The law of abundance ensures that prosperity is our natural state. So regardless of temporary outer conditions, you can call in prosperity and magnetically attract the opportunities and abundance that you need. The message of the koi fish spirit is to begin to generate wealth within, with deliberate intention, no matter how small your pond may seem, and appreciate abundance wherever you see it. Outer conditions will come to reflect your inner prosperity. So begin to become the self who is comfortable with wealth in all forms, even if at the moment it feels as if riches are not yours. They soon will be. Start to envision the plenty that Spirit wants you to experience, knowing that the moments you begin to commit to conscious and deliberate co-creating, Spirit will joyfully start bringing you what you need. You have so much to offer and so much of value to express to the world. In your little pond, there is much you can create and much you can attract. Do not underestimate what you have and who you are. For koi fish spirit wants you to know that you are exquisite, loved, and deeply cherished. Trust that outer conditions are changing to reflect that truth. So thank you to the koi fish spirit. Thank you to Spirit. That is a wonderful ending point for this shadow work message. And thank you, whoever this message is for sharing. Times are difficult. Times are tough. But with a little change in the mentee, you can do wonders and take yourself out of this and bring yourself to this. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here on this channel and allowing the space for these messages to come through. We truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, we love you. Bye.